you watching RuPaul's Drag Race? Well, because if you aren't, you are missing our hometown contestant, the Vixen, who's making waves this season.
That's right. She's back in town this week and hanging out with fans of the show tonight.
So without further ado, the Vixen!
Hey. Hello!
Hi. How you guys doing?
You better come snatch at 7 o'clock in the morning.
You came.
Yes, honey.
Oh my God, this is surreal. So guess what I was watching last night?
What?
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yes.
How are you doing,
Thank
baby?
you.
It's
I'm
good
so
to
happy
see
to be
y'all.
Hey!
So the Vixen, you're crushing it right now in the outfit, doing the most. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, you got a huge storyline in tonight's episode. Can you elaborate? But before you do, let's take a look.
Asia's saying the competition shouldn't outweigh sisterhood. Do you know there's $100,000 on the line? Girl, I got enough sisters.
Vixen has chosen me as her partner, and this could go one or two ways. It could be fabulous because she's won 2 mini challenges and a maxi challenge thus far, or it could go very sour because when she doesn't get her way, she becomes very venomous.
Oh, venomous.
All right,
Venomous. Vixen
That was
venomous.
quite the tease. The Vixen, can you tell us a little bit more now that we've seen some?
So what you saw was a mini challenge, and in the mini challenge, so I won, because that's what I do. So I got to pick who was in what group. And so I got to manipulate, okay, these two are strong, these two are weak. And so I kind of had the advantage for the week on who's gonna do well. And so Asia, my partner for the week, is a little nervous because she knows that I've never had a problem in a team, but you give me one cocktail.
So you're not a team player? Is that what
I am
you're
a team player, but I'm a team leader. That's the thing.
Amen.
You know what I love about you being a leader is that you also made headlines recently about talking about race relations.
Absolutely,
and the drag
yeah.
community, and you actually got some of the other contestants involved in this. I want to see this first.
Okay.
So this right here is exactly what it is. You say something, I say something, you start crying. You have created a narrative of I am an angry black woman who is scared off the little white girl.
Listen, I love how you speak about race. So what was that moment like for you?
It was very intense because it's not easy in the moment recognizing that you're being played. And I was like, I see what you're doing. You might not see what you're doing, but I know what the cameras are seeing, and I'm not gonna let this go down that way. And it wasn't that she was evil or racist or anything like that, but she wasn't being conscious of what we all knew was possible. And I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen to me. Because what's sad is that it does happen to contestants season after season. The fandom, like America, just gets a little crazy.
And it's so interesting you say that. I could take this back to Karamo, and you didn't become that on the show, but in the Real World franchise, there's always the angry black character. There was always something that played out on that show. So it's really interesting, the Vixen, how you're talking about this, when it's really, truly been a narrative throughout the Real World franchise. Don't you agree,
I think in reality TV, it's a trope.
Yeah.
And I had to be very careful because I know that I'm a very outspoken person, but I don't want to be pigeonholed to that same thing just because I'm assertive.
So how would you say that this show is changing perceptions of just what drag queens, what drag is, just everything, what it means? Because I think a lot of people are still working to understand it. How do you think this show helps?
I think it really gives drag queens a human element, which is great because you get to see that we do have families and history, and there's more layers. The makeup comes off, and then there's a person under who has feelings. So it's great that, especially now that we're on VH1, that the audience is so broad, and so many people and kids get to see that we're not just clowns.
No, that's. I'm glad you said about the kids. Not to cut you off really quickly, but my son's friends, these little kids, are watching Drag Race, and they're so excited for you all. So you're changing the world.
Thank you. You really are. We're so proud that you're Chicago's own. It's so exciting. And you have a brand new show that you're doing in Chicago. It's called Black Girl Magic.
Yes. So I do Black Girl Magic. It's a show that I started with the black drag queens in Chicago because we did feel underrepresented. And so we came together and we put together this amazing lineup that is nothing but stellar performances because, black girls can really turn it. So when you come to the show, it's such a great energy, and we're just trying to make it the biggest thing that we possibly can because the performances are great, but the best thing is knowing that everybody in the room is there to support.
The world's ever evolving, and we're not nearly to the place where we need to be, but how do you feel like the perception of drag has evolved over the years? You talk about being on that platform of VH1. We're now in 2018. Have you seen it grow into a place where you feel like we're making progress?
Definitely. I think drag is seen now more as an art instead of like a joke or a sexual thing. I think people are starting to realize that it takes a lot of skill and intelligence and grit to be able to perform gender. And, yeah.
Vixen, I love you on the show. Please just tell me you win. Please.
Okay, I win. I admit it.
I know you couldn't say it. I couldn't say it.
If it was true, I would.
She wants to.
Exactly.
We don't even know who won yet.
You're a winner in our eyes, Vixen.
Thank you. Thank you
So you guys can catch the new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race tonight at 7 p.m. on VH1.
That's right. The Vixen will also be appearing, at Roscoe's tonight for the RuPaul's Drag Race viewing party. Doors open at 5 p.m.